This generally is a good app. It's still in the beta phase, it's still growing, and it can be quite dangerous because it's a crypto project and there are many ways that you can be scammed. What's up YouTube, this is Daniel and I'm back with my next video, and in this video, I'll be sharing my honest reviews about the STEPN app after using it for about 1 month. So let's jump right in. So I started using the STEPN app since the 10th of March, and it was a post by one of the crypto banter hosts, Crypto Man Ran, on Twitter, where I saw that he had a STEPN sneaker and he used it to earn some coins, and I actually checked it out, and that was where my journey on STEPN started. So you can actually see that this is my first activity. It isn't really much of an activity. I was just trying to fiddle with my new shoe. I actually burned some durability without even earning any GST. There are actually many things that I love about the app. I love the fun that it does provide as a crypto game. It does push you as a gamer to think about your progression. How are you able to improve the attributes of your shoes so that you can increase your earning to become a better gamer? And as you progress through the levels, there are more and more mechanics that you can explore. So for example, at the very beginning, perhaps as a beginner, I was just looking at efficiency and increasing the rate of which I earn GST each day. But now, since that I have moved to about 3 or 4 shoes and that my main shoe is almost level 23, I'm starting to think about other mechanics such as shoe minting, how gems come into play, and perhaps even buying an uncommon sneaker and thinking about how the uncommon sneaker actually augments the whole gameplay in STEPN. It does give you quite a lot of motivation to wake up each day in the morning to clock in a run so that you can maximize the usage of your energy to earn tokens. And I do think that it takes a little bit of planning because sometimes we are quite busy. If you're like me and you have a day job, you can't exercise as and when you like, so you need to plan in an activity either in the morning or in the evening so that you can earn the tokens that you need each day. And do take note that the way the game is designed, if you missed out on the activity, you can never go back into the past to redo that, and that is quite similar to how fitness actually works, right? So if you miss that morning of exercise, you'll never be able to reclaim that time. You can only just work on it the next day. I do like that the game has built in some form of flexibility. So for example, I bought a jogger sneaker which kind of allows me to either jog slowly or actually walk fairly quickly. With this flexibility, I can actually clock in an activity every single day. I do like the social part of it as well, because some of these fitness goals can be community based as well, right? You can be working on these fitness goals with your friends, you can be meeting up with your friends for runs regularly, and the social part of the game allows you to send shoes to your friends such that they can be earning too, and then you'll be able to start conversations about the app and even strategies on how to maximize the earnings together. Similar to Strava, STEPN does allow you to share your activities with your friends, and they'll be able to check it out. They'll be able to see your routes if you share it with them, and they'll be able to keep track of your activities as well. And I do think that it allows us to make fitness a social kind of thing. Many people think that the investment in STEPN is more like a outlay of cost at the beginning. However, the shoes that you're buying in STEPN is actually an NFT, and the NFT will remain with you forever unless the project crashes or is being rug pulled. Of course, every crypto project runs that risk, but I'll be talking about that a little more later. But if assuming that it doesn't get rug pulled and the NFTs and the project continues to live on, the shoes that you invest in will remain there until the end of the game, and actually you'll be able to sell the shoes back into the market at any point of time. And it really depends on what is the market price that will affect whether you'll be earning a profit or a loss from now compared into the future. And it's not only from the appreciation of the NFT sneaker that you're earning from, because using the sneaker, there is actually an in-game utility that you can benefit from as well, and that you'll be able to use that shoe to go for exercises, and you'll be able to earn GST tokens which can be swapped out for USDC, a stable coin, and it can be even be cashed out on a centralized or decentralized exchange if you so wish to. And I do think that with this utility, there is actually a greater rate of returns that is more dependent on how much you play the game as compared to pure capital appreciation of normal NFTs out there. So in short, you can actually benefit from its utility and not just speculate on the price appreciation of the NFT. During the past month, I kept myself up to date with the different milestones in the STEPN roadmap, and it's really quite exciting to see the developers roll out some of these new updates. The first one that we've seen is actually the multi-chain wallet, where now they have just integrated the BNB chain on the STEPN app. And I do think there are many other exciting milestones that they have planned for in the future. For example, the rental system, the in-game marathons, the background earnings, which will add many more layers of gameplay to STEPN, which will actually attract more and more people to come to the app to use it, to earn, and to have fun, or to even track their daily activities. I do think that STEPN has a growing global community which is very active. If you follow them on Twitter, you actually realize that they have frequent AMAs, which the founders will go on and allow most of the community members to ask questions to find out about how they envision the roadmap of the app to be like, how some of the updates will be, and perhaps even to give some feedback about the problems faced by the communities. And I do think that this active community engagement done by the STEPN developers is really very helpful. And with regards to the longevity of the STEPN app, I do think that there is still some form of risk, but in recent times you see that Binance has come out to say that they have backed this project. You see that they have a collaboration with ASICs, as you might have heard of the recent Binance ASICs Genesis NFT sneaker launch. They did also mention or hint about a possible collaboration with Nike and Adidas in the future. And as more and more major partnerships go through, it does give you more and more confidence in the project, knowing that it will stay for long term, because if it is actually a project that will be run by its developers, these big names will be very concerned and will actually look into it, because they'll be severely affected by the rug pull as well. And I do think that going forward, the STEPN developers are looking to incorporate monthly events. And so in the month of April, they have actually launched the Easter mystery box event, where you can have a chance of earning a double mystery box. I do think that with these events, it will actually give users more and more reasons to come back to use the app and to engage in with the community again. Of course, there are several things that I didn't really like. First and foremost is about the entry cost, right? A single sneaker actually costs upwards of 1,200 USD, and that is a lot of money for anybody. And wherever you're at, that is actually quite some money for an NFT. And by putting in this amount to buy the NFT, you are actually incurring significant risk. And because of this, I do think there is a decent level of barriers of entry for anyone who's looking to get into the game. In my own experience, when I was out for exercise, I do realize that the GPS signal on the STEPN app does fluctuate quite a bit. I would think that going forward, they may be looking into doing some smoothing of the GPS signal, but because of its fluctuation, it does cause me to run or exercise at a suboptimal speed, and that affects my GST earnings. One big complaint from me, and as with many other people, is that the app is quite buggy, and many users, including myself, have found it very difficult to transfer either our NFT assets or our tokens such as GST or Solana between the in-app wallet and other wallets outside. There was once that I tried sending my NFT sneakers to my friend. I had to do it 3 times, and each time they actually deducted the transaction fee without successfully putting the transaction through, and that caused me to lose my transaction fee. I didn't really know what went wrong, because the app doesn't really give much support or explanation as to what went wrong. In general, depending on when you make these transactions, the transactions does still go through, but you might be slow, and it might take you a few tries, and perhaps you just need to check out whether the Solana or the Binance chain is congested before considering making the transaction during that time. On the backdrop of these many issues, I have to say that the developers did a good job to allow a simple way to raise tickets to feedback problems in the app. However, this was abused because it was such an easy channel for all users to do, and many users raised tickets for about every single thing. The developers were flooded, and they couldn't really respond effectively to any of the queries from the users, and I do think that affected their turnaround time for some of the problems. And you realize that because of that, the customer service isn't too too good in the STEPN app. I do think that it is quite hard to get an activation code because of the interest in the game. They've started to limit the numbers of activation codes to 1000 on Discord and 1000 on Telegram. If you're interested to find out where you can get activation code, do check out this other video that I made. I do think that them limiting the activation codes does limit the growth of STEPN in a way, but as what they mentioned in some of the AMAs, they are trying to get it to grow by the active users. So say you need to have a friend who's already actively using STEPN to give you the activation code, and because of that, many people find it hard to even start on STEPN because they are unable to get hold of an activation code. Me personally, I jumped into STEPN right before the hype came in, so it was relatively easy for me to get an activation code, but if you were to try to get in right now, it's really quite difficult. Last but not least, as a beginner in STEPN, right when I was trying to start and to find out how to play the game, there wasn't much content about it. No one was really giving clear advice on what to think about to buy a shoe and what to consider and how to play the game and how to scale out and what are the strategies available to maximize the earnings from day to day. And so I felt a little bit lost in the beginning, but I do think that slowly it's becoming better, and that's actually one of the reasons why I started making guides for STEPN, because I do think that this is an app that many people can benefit from, and that by lowering the barriers of entries in terms of knowledge, it will actually encourage more people to join in on the app, and perhaps we can even build a community together. But of course, with the lack of information, I started out buying whatever shoe with the limited knowledge and with limited information that was available out there, and that led me to make my biggest mistake on the STEPN app. So do your own research and be careful. None of this is financial advice, but I do think that STEPN is something that you should check out. Do consider liking and subscribing to my channel to be notified of any other videos and guides that I'll be making on STEPN. If you're interested to find out what my biggest mistake was, do check out this video so that you will not make the same mistake as me. See you next time!